A couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I tried ordering some of these fiber shot cups in 12 and 10 gauge from Clay & Game. And they sent me an email and told me that pretty much we can't ship to the United States. I'm not sure why, so I pretty much just gave up on them. Until a couple viewers reached out and said they wanted to send me some. So these came from Rich. I'm not going to say your last name because I don't know if you want that out there or not. Anyway, yeah, these came from Rich, and I have some more on the way from a different subscriber. And I believe he is sending me more 10 gauge and 12 gauge ones. Could be wrong, but I think he's sending me the 12 too. So expect a video on those in the future. But these are the 10 gauge ones, and they look like this. They are 45mm paper wad or a shot cup, however you want to, view it there. They are sort of crimped on the bottom, and they kind of smell like Crayola crayons, which tell me they're waxed. These are a lot more rigid than plastic wads. They are pretty dang heavy duty, if I had to say so myself. Now, this is the 45mm length one, and I believe that is the longest they sell these in. They are meant to be assembled over, I suppose, nitro cards and fiber wads, fiber cushion wads, or felt, cork, any kind of filler wad you have. And this is the shot cup, not a technical wad, because there is no real gas seal on it. I'd imagine if you set this over the powder and try to fire it, the powder would just blow right through that thing, and it would be a dud load. And you'd probably end up with a barrel obstruction. So I put together 6 of these, and Josh called me and was asking what the deal with these things are. He thought they were cool too, and I explained to him how I put them together, and then, he was like, well, why didn't you, put those together with nitro cards instead of an X10X plastic gas seal? And then I thought to myself, gee, I'm really stupid. The whole intent behind these was to, get around having to use plastic wads in the first place. And here I am putting these together with X10X plastic gas seals. So in this one, we're putting together one of these the way I think they're really intended to be used with, let me get one out of here, probably should open that a little bit more, but nitro cards and fiber cushion wads. There we go, I got one out. We will be needing 3/8 of an inch. This is an entire 1/2 inch, so tear off 1/8 of an inch of the fiber cushion wad there. And again, if you have cork or felt, you can use those too in place of the fiber cushion. But this is what I have, so that's what I'm using. And over top of the 3/8 inch fiber cushion wad, we need another nitro card. So it goes nitro card, fiber cushion wad, and then nitro card on top. Make a sandwich. And that is going to be our stack height underneath the shot cup in this. We are using this stuff right here today, 36, and I have it coming out of this thing right here, being nondescript as possible. So first things first, we have to slit this. I'm using Gary Caskey's 4-pedal adjustable 10 gauge wad slitter. Now these are very, very hard to slit with this, and I'd imagine that fiber is actually dulling the blades over time. I don't know. But guys, this is the hardest wad. Yeah, I can't do this with one hand. I'll get back with you guys in just a second, but if you want any of Gary's tools, facebook.com/gary.d.caskey. That is insane how hard that is to slit. Well, I managed to get it slit, but as you guys can see, it does kind of fray it out just a little bit, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and push this off here and see if it'll come off. There we go. And that's what it looks like now. 4-pedal and cut as deep as I care to, because obviously this is kind of thin at the bottom and I don't want to risk cutting through that. But this should perform pretty well. Those pedals are very rigid. I'd imagine these would produce a pretty tight pattern. So I have it switched back over to our regular third-person view camera, and I have a Remington brand new 3.5-inch hull with a Shaddai CX2000 in it, and I do have this skived, so it is ready to go. Like I was saying earlier, 36 here. There we go. Now we need, where did I put it? Right here. Our 70 thou 10 gauge nitro card. Get that in place, and we will give that a seat with the press. You don't need too much pressure on that, just make sure it's flat in there, and it is. Now we need 3/8 inch of a fiber cushion wad or any sort of filler wad you have. Get that in place and make sure it is flat. Once again, give that a seat with the press. And again, make sure it's flat, and it is. Now, forgot to grab one out of here. We need a second 70 thou nitro card right on top of that one. These go together pretty quick. The only thing difficult about this is actually slitting that wad. And get that in there. And make sure it's flat. And it is. Okay, now all that's left to do is insert our shot cup here, which is really easy to do. I'm actually going to use Gary's tamper for this because I don't want to risk punching through the bottom of it, which you can do. I've learned that by experience. Now, once that is seated against the nitro card, then you can add a little bit of pressure to it, and hopefully you can see, maybe. I guess not. We are at the right stack height now for a fold crimp, which we are doing. Obviously, you could roll crimp this if you want to as well. By the way, one thing I've noticed about these Remingtons, and it is only these Remingtons, those nitro cards are actually oversized for 10 gauge. I think they're actually a 795 or 790 diameter instead of 775. Anyway, you can see right here it just ever so slightly bulges that plastic out. Not enough to cause chambering issues. It's not even as big as the diameter of the brass, but it still does it. Just wanted to make note of that. Moving on, I have 21 pellets of 30 cal #1 buck here, true #1 buck, and it is hard cast, tumbled, and polished. I just drop those in to let them find their own way, and they will stack by threes. I cannot show you or they're going to spill out, but they do stack by threes. And by the way, those 21 pellets are exactly at the top of that shot cup. Nothing is sticking above it, and it is not any below the top of the shot cup. You guys know what I'm saying. It is exactly flush with it. Where's my, there it is, scoop. Now, yes, this is plastic. I'm not going to use cornmeal or anything here. I'm just going to use my regular buffer that I always do. Because, well, one, I don't have any cornmeal to use, or grits or anything like that. Yes, I do like grits, but do I have any? No. If I did, I probably still wouldn't use it. But what I like to do with these is get the buffer level with the top of the hull, which I have about right there. And then we'll grab our massager here from Amazon and just vibrate that down in place. Actually need just a little bit more. And that looks like it's going to do it right there. Yep. Top row of pellets is about 3/4 of the way covered. That's all you need. Lastly, there it is. We need an overshot card, and for that I'm using one section of those 10 gauge nitro cards I've been using. And that's going to bring us up to exactly the right stack height. I know it's hard to see. So this is actually not one of Gary's tampers, it's one Martin sent me. This is the 12 gauge one. I have one for 10 gauge somewhere too that's actually bigger than this, but I can't find it. So I'm just going to use that to make sure everything is completely flat in there, and it is. We are now ready to crimp this, and I believe you guys can actually see the shadow of the stack height in there. Anyway, backstation of my Lelodol here, which I have converted to do 10 gauge. The only issue it has is the pre-crimp tubes are still sized for 12 gauge, and the 10 gauge shells are kind of tight, but as you guys can see, it does a beautiful pre-crimp on it. Now, I'm going to use the Rebacitor to do our middle crimp, and that's what it looks like. I know it's kind of hard to see, but looks perfect. Final crimp it, and this shell is going to look amazing. And check that out. Once again, I know it's hard to see, but it's perfect. You can't really ask for better than that, other than the fact that the bulge in the plastic right here from the nitro card is kind of ugly to me. I really wish that those weren't so oversized. But these Remingtons do have super thick plastic, that's why it bulges them out. It's fine in Federals, Shaddats, and Winchesters. But guys, that is a flawless crimp. You guys seen how fast that was too. That is completely effortless. I'll learn how to speak proper English one day, I promise. But to me, guys, I have to be honest here. That looks better than even a Ponsness Warren press can do. That's just my opinion though, but it looks really, really nice. So the Ponsness Warren presses are the best shot shell reloading press on the market. They even do good with new hulls, but you PW press guys, let me know how I did with that one. Is that on par with what your press is doing? I've never used a PW, but I've seen what they can do, and to me, this honestly looks a little bit better. Here's a closer up view of it. You can see around the rim, I guess you'd call that. It's all completely even. The crimp is flat in the middle. That's not really a pinhole, and there's a nitro card underneath it anyway, so no buffer can ever spill out of that. And the top of it is completely even. There is no waviness. The only thing this does not have is a taper. And that crimp is all thanks to the Rebacitor. And in first person mode, I believe you guys can see the bulge from the nitro card I was talking about just a little bit better. Maybe if you used that powder back here instead of that one, obviously where that's a much denser powder, that would probably set into the brass and it might not bulge the plastic. I don't know. But overall, I'm happy with that one. And back to third person view we are. Guys, I just want to say huge thanks to everybody that has reached out to us and offered to send us things that otherwise we would not have access to, especially in cases like this where we just can't get these here in the United States, which is really sad because there's nothing like this on the market here. More and more places around the world, even here in the US, are disallowing the use of lead shot for recreational shooting on gun ranges, skeet ranges, things like that, and hunting. Well, this right here lets you use steel shot, which is the cheapest option if you can't use lead, and it's plentiful too, so you can use steel shot with these. Again, we have nothing like that on the market here in the United States, and we can't get these here. We need something like this in the US market because there's a gap that just needs to be filled. A lot of people just don't want to use lead anymore because it can pollute the environment if you want to look at it like that. I personally prefer lead over everything else, and I will use it any chance I get. But there are people that just don't like lead, or they just can't use it. We need these. Like I was saying earlier, I tried ordering these in 10 and 12 gauge about a year and a half ago, and they emailed me and told me that they couldn't be shipped to the United States, and it's just a piece of paper with wax in it. I don't know, guys. In my mind, that's like, hey, there's a brand of bottled water that exists in Europe, and I want to order some because I want to try it. Well, sorry, sir, we can't send that to you. It's water, why not? I know, rules and regulations, but in this case, it's literally just paper and wax. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, we will definitely be doing multiple range videos on these. Obviously, first is with buckshot, then we'll probably do steel, and then next turkey season, we'll do some turkey-style assemblies for you guys using these wads. I personally am really excited to do it. I know you can tell in my face. Seriously though, I am very excited to do videos on these wads. I have been trying to get a hold of these for a while. So, like I was saying earlier, Josh pointed out the fact that I put these together with plastic gas seals, and he was like, "Why did you do that?" And I wasn't thinking. So, whenever we do the range video on these, 6 of them will have the plastic gas seal, and 2 of them will be loaded the proper way with the nitro cards, just so you guys know. Although I'm sure one of us will point that out whenever we film these. Oops. Anyway, these are just really cool to me, but I guess that's going to end this one here, guys. Bit of an odd video, I know. But please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month, and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram, Rumble, and merch store will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.